I come bearing good news of a bright future for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. The Jersey Flegg team has won the Jersey Flegg Grand Final, just as Harold Matts won their Grand Final in April of 2023. One prop has confirmed to be leaving the Bulldogs, while another is becoming an option to move across to the Bulldogs. There's a big Grand Final happening this week, and boy, are we excited. But before that, if you haven't done so already, I want you to go ahead and annihilate that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on all of our rugby league content coming up in the off season to cure that rugby league itch. And with that, I want to introduce my co-host, Dibbo. Welcome, Dibbo.
Hey, look, I think we got the Dr. Jekyll version of Elmo, because a few months ago we had the Mr. Hyde version. You know, we're like, oh, I'm not patient. I don't want to wait anymore. We've been waiting for, I don't know, God knows, like 8 years or something. You know, the future's bleak, but now all of a sudden a Jersey Flegg victory, and look at this, the future is bright. A few weeks ago, Mr. Gould, I don't want to hear this anymore. I want it now, you know?
Well, to be fair to me, right?
And the rest of the Dogs fans.
And the rest of the Dogs fans, we have been waiting for a long time. But
it's good positivity I'm seeing now.
I know, but you know,
this is what I wanted to see.
Well, the Bulldogs haven't won Jersey Flegg in 20 years.
Okay.
Right? So what we're seeing is that the pathways are starting to be built. The positive and future Bulldogs is starting to be developed. And if you remember, for a long portion of the year, the Bulldogs were also leading the New South Wales Cup.
Two of those players were needed in first grade.
Yeah, two of those players moved to first grade. They had to come back. There was a lot of shuffling and changing in the team. But you know, all of that is to say, Harold Matts is building nicely. Jersey Flegg is building nicely. And I'm going to have a lot more detail about particular players and sort of reviewing the game, the Jersey Flegg Grand Final.
Yep.
But if we're honest, and if we want to look to the future, right, look to what is being developed, what is being built, I think, okay, we may not be successful next year or the year after, but if we continue to guide these young players through our pathway system, right, we hold on to these this young talent, honestly, 2025, 2026, you can start to see some of that build into something really successful. And you have players that want to be at the Bulldogs, that want to win in the Bulldogs jersey. And I think that's what I feel the Bulldogs have been missing. It's that core that wants to play for the club. You look at Panthers, and I know it's easy to always look at the Panthers, but, you know, all these players like Critter coming to us, you know, throughout the week, there's been a lot of media about him being really sad to leave. The people that he's played juniors with, he's come through the Pathways programs with, they're like his best mates. His wife and, you know, their wives are best mates. So you can see that there's that camaraderie there. There's that development happening together. And hopefully what we see from this Jersey Flegg team, from the New South Wales Cup team, and even from the Harold Matts team, is they're going to start building into those great players that we need for the future to bring the Bulldogs back to where they have been for a long time, and that is right up the top of the ladder.
Now, if you look at Penrith before they started winning grand finals on the regular and making, you know, being at the business end of the season, they actually started, you know, go about a decade or so ago, they started winning the lower grades.
That's right.
You know, Jersey Flegg, and they just started from there where they were regular winners of the under-20s and the reserves, and they've built a winning culture there. So, and also, I'm not just only saying for the 20s and the reserves, but also SG Boy and Harold Matts level.
Yeah.
If they're not winning it, they're in there in the grand final. They've built a winning culture. These kids are used to a winning culture, you know, and that's what Canterbury's trying to build here. Something we stressed on earlier this year, what Gould is trying to do. He's trying to strengthen the juniors and then from there build his way up. So it's starting. It started already at the Mats. It's now, you know,
transferring to Jersey Flegg,
you know, and it's going to take a bit longer for first and reserves, maybe a few years, and they'll start breaking, and then they want to aim for a sustained period of success.
Absolutely.
Not like you go up there two final appearances and then drop off for the next 5 or 6 years. No, they want a sustained period of success where they're probably appearing in 2025 final series alone.
Building legacy, building a real successful institution, not just a successful club, but a successful institution.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you look at Panthers, right? They are, like, for me, they're becoming more than just a club. They're an institution. They are literally becoming what I would call the breeding ground for rugby league, not just for the Panthers. Every club now has taken 1 or 2 successful players from the Panthers and have, imported them into their system, and all these players are doing so well, right, for all their teams.
I was looking at the Australian schoolboys side on the weekend that played Papua New Guinea So I think they had the schoolboys play against the 20s Papua New Guinea, and they won narrowly.
Yeah.
So I think it was 17-year-olds playing against 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And Papua New Guinea side was strong. I saw, like, for example, in that 17-man side, there was 4 from St. George, right? 3 out of the 4 are actually from the Minchinbury, Penrith, St. Mary's area. And I think only one of them's homegrown from, I think he's either from the St. George area or the Illawarra area. So, but I know 3 of them are from the Penrith area where they were playing Harrod Mats and SG Ball for St. George, right? And I was looking who their junior teams were, and I think saw one of them was Penrith Brothers and the other one was Minchinbury Jets, and I think the other one was St. Mary's Saints. And these guys are now signed long-term contracts with St. George at the age of 17 years old. One of them's also played a few games of reserve grade. He's a big bopper. So Penrith and the West Magpies area, if you want to include the greater Western Sydney areas, they are the breeding ground for rugby league. You know, there's only so many spaces a Matthews, SG Ball or a Jersey Fleet side can afford. I think it's 20, 25 men. There's probably about in each age group there. Probably you can choose between 40 to 50 kids.
And rest.
So 3 to go to the other NRL sides, and they're all benefiting. I know Canterbury started rating them, so it's a matter of getting the ones that will excel in first grade.
Yeah, look, absolutely spot on. And again, it's to talk of patience. Yeah, we're going to need to have patience. It's not going to be easy, and it's not something that will happen overnight. But it's interesting. Like this Jersey Fleck team won the grand final. They made it all the way there. And I recall something that Seraldo said in one of his press conferences when he was asked about the training regime, and he said these Jersey Fleck guys, they come in at 5:30, they train, they go, they work for 8 to 10 hours, then they come back or study, and then they come back and they train again at 5:30. And when you think about these guys are working hard, but they're also working, outside of rugby league, and then they're coming back and they're winning a Jersey Flag grand final. This is what it takes for success, and I feel like with them winning the grand final, it really illuminates what Seraldo is trying to do at the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Then you think about, okay, all these players, these former players, current players that have come out in support of what Seraldo is doing, and you've got a handful of Bulldogs players who are used to being slack, who are used to potentially, playing at a lower level club, haven't had to try as hard, right, to succeed because they knew success wasn't on the cards, and all of a sudden when they're being pushed by a coach that wants success, they're having a bit of a complaint.
Oh, hands down. I mean, and look, if you look at the pathways Canterbury's doing good. They've turned it around. But look at rugby league pathways, and it makes it more attractive for rugby talent in this country to want, if you consider the other code.
Yeah. The one that just lost to Wales, 40 to 6?
Look, 40 to 6. I don't think Australia's, growing up, Australia would go over to the UK and literally tick off that Scotland, Ireland, Wales would get walloped by Australia. England could pose a challenge to Australia.
But they would win, even against England.
Yeah, most of the time they would. It was literally once every 5 years England might spring an upset, but the others were no chance. Now Wales walloping, not just beating Australia, walloping them, destroying
them.
So what's happened to rugby is the player talent's basically gone to rugby league. Even at those GPS schools, they're choosing to play league because of what league offers in terms of pathway. And look, the money's there as well for even the younger talent.
But what's incredible, right? Just on that, and I find this quite funny is media reports and commentators are saying, Swelly is getting offered a lot of money to go to rugby union, $1.6 million a year, this and that.
Be a backflip
now. A lot of commentators are saying, does he even want to go there? Right? And okay, you're paying a lot of money, but what are you going to?
I think you end up in European rugby. Wallabies is not their pathways it's going to take them a while to. If they ever recover, it's going to take them a while.
It's going to take them more than a generation.
The league will probably go even further ahead.
And look, there's like what I'm seeing from a lot of clubs now is a lot of clubs are now identifying that the way to success is by growing your grassroots, implementing proper pathways programs, investing in that pathway. And for me, as a rugby league fan, it's exciting because now you're seeing teams identifying how best to go about building a future for your club, building a future for those players in your community that want to be part of that team. And for me to see the success that the Bulldogs are seeing in their lower grades, sure, New South Wales Cup, did sort of fall off towards the end of the season, but that's okay. But you can bet that we'll be better and bigger and stronger next year, right? And you look at the Bulldogs team that Gus Gould and Cameron Serraldo are building now. They're not. It doesn't look like they're building a top 17. They're building a strong, experienced top 30, and a lot of that will bleed back into the New South Wales Cup, right? Which will help develop those younger guys in New South Wales Cup. And it is looking
you want to also
very good.
You also want to make sure you got injury cover.
Absolutely.
If one player's out of form, another one can step in. You don't want injuries and form getting in the way of a strong 17, basically.
No, and again, if you have a top 30, it helps support that top 17 to always be experienced and strong. But when the top 17 is not injured and there is a strong top 17, that those that are in the top 30 with experience are going back to play where? New South Wales Cup, to play alongside the younger players to help build that experience, playing alongside players who do have experience in first grade. It's such a good cycle to continue and to build. And you sort of, when you break it down that way and you understand this is the only way out of the conundrum that we're in, it makes a little bit, it's tough in the short term. And as fans, we're going to complain and we're going to want to see some more success.
Looking forward to next year.
And you'll see me complain all day long on this podcast if we don't do well. But you can see where it's going. And as long as we can maintain those youngsters coming through, the Bulldogs over the next 10 years will get a lot stronger. And you can see them right up there. I personally believe. If you look at the Broncos even, for example, the youngsters that they've got in their team succeeding, even though Walsh went to the Warriors, he was a Broncos junior.
He came back, yeah.
Right, and he came back. Payne Haas, Jesse Arthurs. You look at Carrigan, Flegler, Farnworth, Cobbo, like all these guys are Broncos youngsters. Sure, the Bulldogs don't have the same reach.
They're competing against Redcliffe now, so
yeah, well they are.
It's but
it's still a healthy competition to provide pathways for, because if you look at the top 30 of the Broncos in years gone by, they could have possibly had a top 60. They had that much talent, right? And a lot of them were going to Melbourne to the Storm.
They'll now swap each other, I reckon.
And I think it's, it's healthy.
The Queenslanders are pretty loyal to each other. I mean, really, they see how they were bypassing Sydney sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even before Melbourne came into the comp, they bypassed, they bypassed the Sydney sides and went to Canberra.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of Queensland.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
when they first came in, you had the Walters boys in there.
Meninga.
Yeah, Meninga. Yeah, Gary Belcher.
And look, I think it's a great outlook when you take a little bit more of a deeper look at where it's going. And I think the Tigers are starting to do a little bit more around their juniors as well. They uncovered someone like Dream Buller, and I think Benji's smart in sort of identifying. They've got as you said, Balmain, that area, and Wests. And
yeah, I meant West Magpies.
West
Balmain used to have strong. Remember, if Keith Galloway pointed out, Balmain used to have one of Sydney's best juniors.
Yeah.
We used to play against them, and jeez, they were. Or was murder playing against them.
But I mean, Wests, if you go to Campbelltown area and that, the amount of talent.
That's because, as you said, Balmain's become more upper class now. So, it's become more the working class. Have now moved out to Sydney's western suburbs. And they're the ones that have more kids, more sports involved. Whereas the latte sippers are now taking over all parts of the harbour, even though now Balmain's the west side of the harbour.
What do you have against lattes, bro? I love lattes and flat whites.
No, I mean, like, when I was just using
stereotype. Calm down, bro. Hey, calm down. It's just a joke, Dibbo. Calm down.
Space wasters.
Calm down, bro.
All our nice areas.
Here he goes on a rant.
They've priced us all out.
I actually wanted to have a little bit of a chat around the actual Jersey Flegg Grand Final. I watched it. It was streamed on the New South Wales Rugby League Facebook page with commentary.
Your personal favourite, Mazzoni?
Look, I thought Mazzoni had a couple of errors in him, but he's still young. But one thing, who I thought played really well, there's actually a few that stood out. So Joseph O'Neill, the captain and the halfback, was player of the match.
Yep. Oh, awesome.
I thought he linked up with Carl Olawapu brilliantly. You saw the 7 and the 6 playing right beside each other, and their backline plays. I mean, I looked at it and I said, why can't our first grade team do that?
Well, Carl steered the ship there in the 20s, obviously, or 19s, whatever it is these days. 20s, is it?
Under 19s.
I think it was just, obviously it was just, above a level above.
Oh, look,
he steered the whole team.
You could tell with the way he was touching the ball, the way he was tackling, the way he was running, he made a few breaks, made a few half breaks. He's a level above, which was clear when they bought Carl Olawapu to be in the top 30.
Yeah.
But but when you look at the way Joseph O'Neill played, the passing across the face, sort of those backline plays, they were very slick. Not many balls were going to ground. The passes were finding their mark. They were early. The way Joseph O'Neill was digging into the line and throwing it out the back, I thought it looked very slick for a young team. They looked very, very on song with each other.
Is he still eligible for flag next year?
He's 17, so I think he would be.
He's eligible for SG ball.
Yeah, well, so he's still quite young.
That's good because you got your halves in the reserves. You got Hayward there as well.
Yeah,
you know it's good. You now got strong halves in the reserves, and you got the strong halves in the 19s, 20s. You know, and I'm assuming you got strong halves in the 16s and 17s as well.
Yeah,
so obviously the first grade you really, but it's good. They're starting to come through. They will now in the next few years put pressure on your halves in the first. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we've said it previously, Canterbury. If their problem was one of their weaknesses, besides that core forward pack, was probably a halfback, maybe.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know, so that's a healthy
competition
that you want, yeah.
And you've got Carl Oluwapu there who can go up there, potentially play at lock, potentially play at 6 with a little bit more experience under his belt.
Yeah, I think he's more of a 6 than a lock.
Look, granted, but he's versatile. Right, and if he can lock down, you know, I don't think we're gonna, you know, the first grade team is gonna get rid of Burden from 6. I do think that 6 is his position, but you know, Carlo Lapa could be a good competition for him, could be a good backup for him, you know, but to see that Joseph O'Neill play so well excited me because if we continue to develop him as a number 7, I think he could potentially, you know, debut in first grade by 25, 26 because he's still very, very young. He's still got plenty of time. And if we continue to develop his abilities, you know, anything can happen. You know, Bailey Hayward's also one of those guys who has the experience. Another one I'll tell you that stood out for me was number 15, Timothy Johansson. He ran very, very hard, never took a backward step. Big guy.
Johansson? Is he from Scandinavia or something?
Look, honestly, it was probably the first time I'd heard of him, to be honest, playing off the bench. But he looked like he was very, very good, had a lot of aggression, ran very, very hard, never took a backward step, hit hard in defense as well. He stood out for me. Ellie Clark, another one that I thought played
he's played a lot of reserves.
He has ran very hard at centre, was very aggressive in defence, very dominant. He looked like he wanted to just rip people's heads off. He was running hard, very good. Definitely one for the future. And we've mentioned Carlo Luapu and Joash Papali'i. I thought, you know, he's played.
He's normally in reserve grade as well. So
plays in New South Wales Cup, played good, but he played just as good in Jersey Flag and definitely was there. I mean, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but they kept their composure. You know, the Roosters scored with about 6-7 minutes to go in the game. That, you know, the Jersey Flag team was up by 2 points, but they never at any point did I feel like they were going to lose it. They never felt like it was a risk. They were playing, they were still attacking, they weren't trying to protect the lead, and they were cool, calm, collected, and that's a credit to their 6 and 7. I thought, you know, Joseph O'Neill and Carlo Luapu held on quite well. So overall, I thought it was really, really positive. It was great to see them win, and you know, if we can continue to build a good squad in Jersey Flag, New South Wales Cup, that bodes well for our first grade team, which I think is a good segue to sort of talk about a few rumblings, a few rumors that are starting to sort of make their way through the media. So it's been sort of confirmed that Luke Thompson will be leaving NRL altogether. He's going to be going back to the Super League in the UK. Wigan. Yeah, he's going to be signed he signed a 4-year mega deal with Wigan.
Big offer. So.
Massive offer. You know, all those reports about him, you know, taking less money to go to the Roosters or all that rubbish was probably unfounded. But he's going to Wigan. Look, if he signed for less money at the Bulldogs, I wouldn't have been too upset with that. But, you know, essentially with Tavita going and with Luke Thompson going, sure, we lose 2 front rowers, but we also clear almost $2 million worth of cap space. So for all those people that are saying, oh, the Bulldogs sign everyone, the Bulldogs are this, the Bulldogs are that, we've got essentially $2 million of cap space to play with.
And you can sign players in essential positions that you need. And of rep note, $2 million.
And of note, actually, I'm not sure how credible this report is, so there hasn't been too much more talk about it. But Telegraph Sport is reporting. Was it Telegraph Sport? I'm not sure. One of the newspapers is reporting that the Knights are looking to move Daniel Saifidi on immediately if they can find a suitor.
So if he goes, Jacob will follow.
I mean, not necessarily. I don't think that's all.
I reckon he will. But think about it. If they got $2 million to play with, you can sign 3 rep forwards. You can sign Fodawaker, Saifidi twins. And, you know, that will be huge. You can fit that in $2 million a season, I'm sure.
and look, to be
Easily.
honest, will that solve our problems?
Hands down.
Probably.
Would even look back after.
Will that happen? I don't know.
That's a state front row there.
Look, I think, you know, if we can even just get one, if we can just get one of those 3,
Get 2 out
it
3.
goes a long way to solving our problems.
Hands down.
And, you know, will I welcome Daniel Saifidi to the Bulldogs? You have no idea.
You'll welcome him, I think, either at the, well, he'll probably just drive down the M1, so you'll be there waiting for him at Burwood Road.
I'll be freaking ringing the bells and welcoming him into Belmore, Belmore Oval. But that's one of the reports about one of the forwards coming off contract.
Yep.
In terms of other signing news, Manly are considering a trade with the Tigers for Alex Twal. So while there has been negotiations or talks with Alex to come to the Bulldogs, it isn't confirmed, and it may not happen, as he may go to Manly Sea Eagles.
Sean Kepi.
I mean, potentially Sean Kepi. I hope we can get someone like Sean Kepi. He could be excellent.
He's got a bit of a variety to his game. Offers a bit of energy. Twelve's just monotone.
Look, I agree. I think Kepi will be better.
He gives
than
you 140, 130 metres a game, but Kepi's got an offload. He's got
aggression. I think Kepi's got a bit of that mongrel in him.
He's got a bit of rocks and diamonds in his game, but he wears his heart on his sleeve and he gets up to go again.
But he's still young as well. He's still very young. He's got time to develop as a prop. So, look, it's yet to be seen. You know, Gould is always quizzed about, you know, how many signings do we have and things like that. And, you know, Gallen was like, oh, you know, there's 2 or 3 signings that you guys are going to announce after the grand final. And Phil Gould was, there's going to be a lot more than that, baby. So, I mean, look, Phil Gould could potentially have a couple of, you know, great signings that we don't know about yet.
Yep.
But it's looking like, you know, a couple of weeks after the grand final, we may actually have, you know, a handful of new Bulldogs players signed and ready to go for 2024.
You know, like, it's funny, like a lot of players aren't actually off contract, but it's clubs wanting to move them on,
Absolutely.
even if they're decent players, just to accommodate. They realise they're in a tight salary cap space, and they've realised, look, we're gonna have to cop it here. There's about 4 or 5 clubs who got a lot of room to move in their cap. Canterbury's one of them. St George's another. I think Manly's got a bit of space.
Yeah, Manly will have a bit of... actually, no, Manly doesn't.
All right, so West Tigers, I think, has got a bit of space. Gold Coast still got a bit of space despite offering those mammoth contracts.
But they're going to try and keep Fodawaker.
The Roosters always have space. They don't actually have a limit. It's infinite how much their cap space is.
The Roosters will never not have space to fix
Roosters will sign you 25 internationals and still find room to sign another 5 internationals. Because for some reason, they were trying to throw their hat in for Luke Thompson all of a sudden. So now they'll also come into the frame for the Saifidi twins and Fodawaker. So, yeah, you can bet on that. So that's your 4 or 5 clubs. So I threw the Roosters in there.
Raiders will have some space as well.
Sorry, I did miss them. They do have space.
They have a lot of space.
So that will be your main players. I think if the Raiders do miss out, is because no one wants to live in a hole called Canberra, because there's like absolutely nothing there.
You don't like the great state of Canberra,
or the city? You mean? We'll have it.
Or
this
the
way.
ACT. Sorry,
I'll tell you a story.
The great state of the ACT.
Let's go to Dibs stories or Dibs tales. I think it's 5 years ago, Boxing Day. Staying at a friend's house in Canberra. God help me. I used to stay up on the Central Coast every Christmas. But I go for a drive with one of my mates, Zach, in his ute. We're going, it's probably about 9 o'clock. There we probably see 2 people in the CBD of Canberra. But what we also see is 2 mobs of kangaroos hopping around. There's probably about 30 kangaroos in those mobs. You know, it was just 2 people and, you know, think about
60 kangaroos.
All up, sorry, 30 kangaroos. So each mob had about 15. Think about it. Would you ever see that in the CBD of Sydney? Never. You wouldn't even see that in suburbia. There was no one to be seen. Only 2 people and 30 kangaroos.
So yeah, you know, that's what's happening at the moment. I do think having Phil Gould as someone as your, you know, director of football does open a few more doors. He's got those relationships with like someone like Peter Parr, for example, from the Newcastle Knights, Scott Fulton from the Tigers. So there are like, it is the networking.
Peter Parr wants to come back to Sydney, back to News. I think he wants to come back, Peter Parr.
He's at Newcastle.
Oh, Okay. Oh, sorry. He wants to come back to New South Wales. I got it wrong. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So he's
He'd be
he
good addition.
so he's Peter Parr is the football manager there at the Newcastle Knights. So there are those connections there. We could potentially be seeing some things happening. And look again. A lot will be revealed after the grand final. So wait and see. But look, it's shaping up like it's going to be a better 2024 than 2023. Having said that, to be honest, going back over 2023, I feel like a lot of the problems were more around player attitude than it was about actual roster. So if we can get the right players in, get buy-in from those players to Serraldo's plan, and anything can happen. We may, I'm not going to jump ahead and say what may or may not happen, but if as long as we can get that buy-in from these new players and from the existing players, I actually think that we will improve dramatically next year. Serraldo's had a year in the job. He's sort of made these mistakes and he can grow. But
yeah, he learns from them. Yeah,
let's see.
Knows
Now
how to handle it better. Yeah.
Talking about grand finals, how do you think, or what do you think of the preliminary finals?
To script really. I know we had that howler that went about 5 meters forward.
At least.
Yeah, that was bad. And the second pass was forward.
Let's talk Panthers Melbourne first. Let's talk Panthers Melbourne.
Melbourne was never going to look when they had Nass on at that first 15 minutes. Yeah, Penrith brought their game, and then Luero threw the wall behind Olam. They could have been up, 10-4 under pressure.
That's right. Yeah.
And they could have scored again. The pressure would have really been on Penrith. It's Penrith's credit. They came back and obviously just it was over by halftime.
I mean, I still, not want to doubt the great bellyache, but he didn't start Grant again.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I mean, everyone has their tactics, but I just didn't. I think that for the first the first 20 minutes, you needed your absolute best team.
Munster offered nothing. I know they say his forward base defense was off. I thought Melbourne's forwards did well in that first 15, but they just couldn't keep up the pace.
I mean, James Fisher-Harris and Moses Leota, they are
the juggernaut of Penrith kept rolling.
They are cannonballs. They are absolute freaks. Like, you talk about laying the platform. My God, do they lay a great platform? And don't forget Liam Martin as well. That guy, he makes it personal with every player on the field. That guy just wants to go out there and just, explode on every single run. And you can tell he's doing damage.
Whereas the only one that was putting a dent from Melbourne was Nass. But, I mean, he was hooked after 15 or 20 minutes. I think he was almost, had that scuffle. So Bellamy thought, all right, it's probably good that I'll get him off now before he gets himself sin-binned or sent off. When he was on Melbourne were holding their own, but then after that, they just can't match it.
But you could tell they were only holding on
that first 15, 20 minutes. Like they couldn't keep up the pace.
You could sort of see that even after 15, 20 minutes,
they're all gone.
As soon as Nass came off, the amount of energy he exerted in the first 15, 20 minutes,
couldn't get the
you
support.
wouldn't be able to get more than 48 minutes out of him in that level. Yeah. But it wasn't just that. I thought, Nelson Asafa-Solomona was given a bit of a directive. Go out there and try and put Cleary off his game.
And he was doing great.
He was, but I felt he only pushed him, but I felt like he was trying. He was sort of overplaying his hand a little bit.
He almost got himself sin-binned.
But the Panthers were smart to it. Sure, they had an early try, but even that try came off an Isaac Tungo missed tackle, and he had come back from a pec injury. You could tell he was lacking in a little bit of confidence. So even then, I felt, in the back of my mind, I was like, if it didn't feel like a well-earned try. Not that it wasn't deserved or anything like that. I just felt like it came a little bit too easy off a missed tackle from Isaac Tungo, who was thrown straight back in at centre, wasn't playing on his preferred side, and he missed that tackle, coming back from a pec injury. But then, the only try that I thought they set up well and then it didn't work for them was that one where Olam got the ball behind him.
Luero blew that. He could have ran himself.
I agree. Could have ran a little bit more and passed it. But you look at the Panthers, and as soon as they got a roll on, it was over. They had no chance. Panthers were rolling on. They strangled them.
Over by halftime.
And as you say, it sort of went to script. And I couldn't see Melbourne even coming close. And I remember, we were talking about this before.
Lucky to beat the Roosters.
And it's sort of the story of the season, right? Like there were two standout teams that everybody else was just trying to keep up.
Yeah,
Brisbane and the Panthers, and it went to script. Now the Warriors Broncos game.
Look, as much as I wanted the Warriors to do a win, I did actually want Brisbane to win because only Brisbane can challenge Penrith in the grand final. The Warriors as we saw 2 weeks earlier, wouldn't pose a challenge with or without Johnson. They're not going to pose a challenge to the Warriors. Brisbane can.
What I love about Brisbane is they're so quick.
They got a lot of,
and they're so aggressive. Like, they're so physical. They just dominate. Like, even in the first 10, 15 minutes, you saw the Broncos absolutely line up and mark up on every single tackle, 3 or 4 in the tackle, driving back, hitting hard. And credit to the Warriors. I know the score blew out at the end, but I thought the Warriors were in it for the best part of
50,
60 maybe?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
It wasn't until that NFL quarterback pass from Reese Walsh.
That's going to be in the cover of Madden 24 now.
And it should be, because that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But up until that point, and even at that point, I thought, in terms of meters, the Warriors were starting to get a little bit on top of the Broncos in the first 10 minutes of that second half. It didn't look like the Broncos were going to run away with it or anything like that. It was disappointing, I think, because the 3 kicks were missed by Adam Pompey.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know Johnson's got a bit of lingering quad or whatever calf issues, but
I mean, I think if Metcalf was playing, they would have had Metcalf kicking. But
he's got to ice those. They're costly.
I agree. And 24-18 is a lot easier to deal with than 24-12.
And he scored 3 tries.
And
it hurts.
It does hurt. But I thought what broke their back was that forward pass. They were now 30-12. It becomes sort of.
It was over.
Yeah. It was over because it becomes, I think psychologically, it becomes a much, much bigger hurdle to overcome, even though at that point it was still 4 tries to 3. And then, but what I found very interesting was just to show you that how great the Broncos defense has been all year, and it showed. Adam Fanua-Blake for the whole game, I think, ran 100 meters.
Yeah, Payne Haas more than doubled him.
Payne Haas ran for 230 meters, 91 meters post contact. Something like 25, 30 tackles. Night and day. Not saying that Adam Fanua-Blake isn't on that level. I think he is.
I think Adam Fanua is, him and Payne Haas are probably, look, me personally, probably top 2 front rowers. That's just me personally. Nothing against James Fisher-Harris, but I think, you put Fanua in a forward pack like that and watch what he does even more.
Well, to be honest, I have to say that it's Payne Haas number 1, James Fisher-Harris a very, very close second.
He's in my top 5.
I'll tell you why I rate Fisher-Harris so highly is because James Fisher-Harris does it on the big stage.
Yeah.
If you remember the grand final last year, his first 10 minutes, he literally fathered Regan Campbell-Gillard, according to some Parramatta fans, the best forward in the world, and Junior Paulo.
He was a former Penrith player.
He was a former Penrith player. But Fisher-Harris and Moses Leota went out there. In fact, Moses Leota probably had a better first half in last year's grand final than Fisher-Harris did.
No, he did. You're right.
They destroyed that forward pack. That forward pack had nothing.
Leota was probably the best player on the field for that first 20 or 10 to 20 minutes.
100%.
And then, he didn't need to do much after that. He was on fire.
And they've done it on the big stage twice, right? Because if you remember 2021, that Rabbitohs forward pack was formidable, right? And the Panthers...
That was a tight grand final.
That was a very tight grand final. But I also think that...
I thought Penrith... Yeah, I thought they would have ran away in that grand final. Souths just gave it to them.
And but it was interesting, right? Because I think that, like, you remember, if in 2021,
does Reynolds redeem himself this year? Does he atone for the missed kick in the 2021 grand final? This is revenge for him. There's more to play for now.
There's definitely a lot to play for.
It's going to be a tight game. There's too much talent in both sides for it to be a blowout.
But before we get to that, I'm still sort of on the Warriors. What an incredible season by the Warriors.
Hands down. Webster, for me, coach of the year.
Without a doubt. No, without a doubt.
I mean, I know people will say, Walters, but Walters has had that squad for a few years now.
But Walters has done well. I don't want to take away from what Walters has done. He's done incredibly well.
Should have made the 8 last year, just had that end of season fade out. He's laden with talent. Webster's come in. He's had a car crash in front of him. He's pieced it together. He not only has it got it running again, he's got it at the business end of the season. And
the humility with which the Warriors team spoke with after is what surprised me.
That's the Polynesian culture.
But it's incredible because what they achieved this year, for me, was nothing short of incredible. I don't want to say miraculous because that would have been in the grand final. If they made the grand final, I think that would have been miraculous as a rugby league team. But what they achieved to
I
go
would have been waving I would have picked up one of their flags and
100%,
waved it. I would have been
100%.
barracking for them the whole way through.
But to go from second last, 15th, right, last year, to 4th, and then, to make it all the way to the preliminary final, one game away from the grand final is incredible. And Andrew Webster needs to be given all the accolades, but the team also needs to be...
I think he'll get Coach of the Year.
I don't think anyone else can.
Yeah.
But to be honest, then you've got Ivan Cleary, who's gotten them into a 4th grand final.
I know, but even Ivan will probably say no.
Yeah, Webster. Yeah.
Like Ivan will probably tell you, if I went there,
I wouldn't
with that squad, I wouldn't have got him to 4th. Ivan will probably say, I'll probably not. Maybe I even got him to the finals.
Look, you're right. You're probably right.
I mean, who goes from 15th to 4th first year and just piecing together a team? And
I will tell you one coach that's done it in the modern era. Kevin Moore for the Bulldogs in 2009.
Yeah, 2008 they went from wooden spooners.
We went wooden spooners to missing the minor premiership by 2 points because of the soured milking incident.
Well done, Sowie.
But that's the only time I can remember.
And then, hang on a sec. He's also got docked 2 points against Para, wasn't it?
No, against Penrith.
Jeez, not only would have got it, you were like more than got it.
We got more than got it. So
that's probably the best turnaround, or almost the best turnaround.
Well, actually, it would have been the first time in rugby league history for that to have been done.
No, it's not the first time.
But from
in the modern era.
In the modern era, sorry, maybe in the modern era.
I think West went from last to first or something.
Either way, that's the only time in the modern era I can remember such a massive turnaround happening. But if you look at like what Sean Johnson was saying, he goes, I apologize to the New Zealand fans, blah, blah, blah. Brother, you have nothing to apologize for. Sean Johnson has nothing to apologize for. Neither do the One NZ Warriors. They need to hold their heads up high because every rugby league fan, Warriors supporter or not, was proud of what the Warriors achieved and are going to be rooting for the New Zealand success next year just as strongly as they were this year.
Actually, yeah, just on the biggest turnaround in the modern era, I just remembered something. Roosters 2010. They went from wooden spooners in 2009 to the grand final in 2010 under Brian Smith. Fittler,
were they wooden spooners in 2009?
Yeah, Fittler, yeah. Chris Anderson, I think, had to come in and take over at the end or something. Remember, Fittler was the coach?
Yeah.
They went from finalists in 2008 to wooden spooners in 2009 to grand finalists in 2010. They were actually leading at halftime 8-6. That was a Brian Smith coach side.
Shame he couldn't win that one.
Shame he couldn't win. Yeah, he's had 4. 4 times he's come up against.
I always thought he was a great coach.
I like Brian Smith.
Yeah, I think
I always thought he was good.
He had a knack for building teams and bringing teams together and sort of building that culture. He just couldn't get him over the line.
I got fortunate once to get a lift home from him. We got a footy presentation. I actually had a lift there with someone else who left early, and then my coach, who also was working with Brian Smith at the time on his footy staff, wasn't meant to give me a lift home, but he actually had caught a ride with Brian Smith, and then I had won all these raffles that day, so I literally had probably... I filled up Brian Smith's boot with all my stuff. I remember he gave me a lift home and it was just giving me a fatherly chat the whole way home. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was a nice little story. Big Sammy, Iash, if you're watching, remember that?
So, for them to do what they've done this year, for New Zealand to get behind them the way they've gotten behind them, man, it's incredible. And it shows just the potential of rugby league in New Zealand. For them to have so much support and the All Blacks to be at a Rugby Union World Cup also speaks volumes because this is what we want to see as rugby league fans. To the Warriors fans, keep your heads up. Your team did very, very well, and I think you guys will be there or thereabouts next year as well. Very, very proud to have been on the Warriors bandwagon. They're my number 2 team. I'll say that quite proudly, quite clearly. New Zealand Warriors are my number 2 team. But yeah, kudos to the Warriors for doing so well. I thought Sean Johnson, even, not being 100%, played so well. Chan's Nickel Klukstad, 230 meters in that game. In the final series, he's averaging 230, 240 meters, 25 runs.
Beast of a player.
Incredible.
Down with Martin Zalesniak. Wow.
And look, they're only going to be better next year with Chanel Tavita-Harris and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck coming back. So, on to bigger and better things next year. Well done big props. But again, congratulations to the Broncos. They did show their ability. And my God, Reece Walsh, Reece Lightning.
Now you got the Brisbane side versus the Sydney side. This is good. City challenge.
Look, I hope the Panthers put 50 on them.
Oh, look.
I want Panthers to do a three-peat.
It's a tight game. It's going to be tight. Penrith, team full of likeable champions. I reckon their players are all likeable. Even Luai.
Oh, I love Luai the most.
I've always admired and liked him. Cleary's a legend. His father from his playing days is very likeable.
And he's doing a great job. He's doing an incredible.
You got some cool forwards in that team. Even their fringe players are pretty cool. Like Spencer Lane, who comes off the bench, he'll be a starter at basically every other club,
and he has to be.
He's got a cult following.
Liam Martin, I think, he's just one of those kamikaze type players. He's fantastic to watch. He's always, even for the Blues, he was their best player.
And then you got the Brisbane side, another team just full of champions all of a sudden.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%.
You got Reece Walsh, you got Pat Carrigan, you got Payne Haas, the irresistible force. You got Adam Reynolds, the seasoned professional. He's come over from Souths. You got Ezra Mann, he's lieutenant on the inside.
Playing like absolute. Their pace is just incredible.
It's just, and
then even forget their centers like Herbie Farnworth and Katoni Staggs are like
guns. They're
just incredible.
And you look at their bench. They've got a strong bench too. Pierre Cura and
Palacia,
like Ricky starts for him. He's another cool character. It's like they all got a cult following.
And how good did Billy Walters play?
Yeah,
against the Warriors. I couldn't believe how well he was playing.
He's there because of nepotism, but
he's earned his spot.
He was at Melbourne before that. He had a few injuries back to back. That's probably why he didn't get started for a while and kind of like held him back. And it's just showing he's got all his father and uncle's talents. He was at West Tigers as well.
That's right.
He's not there because of his father, and he's excelling. He's not getting the accolades because of everyone thinks no one's actually giving him accolades because Kevin's his father. It's so unfair on him.
If there was any position that I thought the Broncos were weak in at the beginning of the year, I said it was 9. But Billy Walters has made it his own.
Yeah, he's taken over Corey Pakes, and they got rid of Jake Turbin,
and he's done so well. And credit where it's due.
It's just sad. It's a bit. You would have, how Penrith literally retained their core of their side. You would love to see Flegler and Herbie Farnworth stay there for at least a few more years, but fortunately they're going across town to Redcliffe. So, because these two sides could have probably been the dominant sides for the next 3-4 years in the NRL, and we would have them facing off probably in multiple. But finals.
If you look at how many players the Panthers have lost and have continued to dominate,
but they've kept their strongest, let's say, dozen. Let's say roughly a dozen. They lose the odd, let's just say a dozen. It's probably more like 9 to 12, but they've kept that strong dozen.
They've kept a strong 5 or 6.
Oh, look, now in these 4 grand finals, there's 9 that are going to be playing in all 4.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's why the reason why I say a dozen is because Spencer Leno, I think, missed the first one through injury.
Yeah.
And then I think you have, and then, like you'd say it's a dozen roughly. There's others there's about another 3 that have played 3. So it's a dozen.
Yeah, fair enough.
Herbie and Flegler for me, I just feel like they're losing them too soon, unfortunately.
But that's what you expect with Redcliffe being, a Brisbane team and having.
It's going to be they'll swap players, those 2 clubs.
But I mean, even with them losing Flegler and Herbie Farnworth, they've still got Corey Oates that they can bring in, maybe move Jesse Arthurs to the centres.
Jesse did play centres at Warriors and Brisbane previously, but I think he's just excelled on the wing.
Look, he has. And then they've got Dean Mariner as well that they can put on the wing.
Dean Mariner I think will end up being a centre. He'll be good.
Yeah, and then they've got the other one.
Just that Herbie was starting to become one of the most dominant
Deloise Hoyter. They've got
Hoyter,
and then don't forget it in the props, they've got Palacia, Pierre Cura, Martin Tapau that they've re-signed as well.
Another year again.
Yeah.
I think Martin played in that Queensland Cup victory, Brisbane East.
Yeah.
He'll be going around this week in the state final, where they'll come up against South Sydney, who incidentally have also won their 21st premiership.
Which is incredible.
I know, they won 21 in each grades. I watched that reserve grade grand final.
It was a good game.
There was a lot of first grade talent on. South stole it at the depth. A shattered North Sydney side who haven't won a title for over 100 years.
How do you think the Bulldogs recruit Blake Taft played?
I'll tell you what. You know what? There's a play. Blake got him over the line. So did the other first graders. Dean Hawkins, the halfback.
Oh, yeah.
He was great. Shaq Mitchell scored a great try. Mate, there's a lot of talent in that south side. North's got a lot of talent that should be playing first grade.
Blake Tuff was actually player of the match.
Yeah, deservedly so.
Okay, cool. Did it look like it was sort of a level above?
You could tell he's playing in a first grade grand final.
Yeah.
North's got a player there, their 5'8" Marshke.
Yes,
I think I don't know if the other guy is his twin or his. I mean, I know it's his brother, but they look so much alike. But Marshke, the 5'8" for North's. He shouldn't be playing reserve. If North had won, he would have got man of the match. He scored a scintillating try. I think he beat 5 or 6 players.
Yeah.
He got him in that grand final as well. He marshalled them around. I know he's re-signed. I read it up. He's re-signed with Norths for another year or something. But
who are they feeding to?
I think the Roosters. But
right.
I don't think Robbo's giving him a run. I think they might have played during COVID, but. I mean, there's a lot of NRL sides out there. I think they'd be silly not to put him in their top 30. He's too good to be playing reserves. Like, he was one of the most dominant players on the field, even the preliminary final I watched as well.
Excellent.
So, like, I mean, Canterbury probably signed, sealed, and delivered their halves, like depth. You know, like, that rules out Canterbury. But I reckon West Tigers should take. I know he's re-signed with North, so I reckon West Tigers should take a punt on him. Even St George.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't hurt.
Well, apparently, Carl Flanagan took a massive pay cut to go to the Dragons. Like a huge pay cut.
You got Flanagan now. Okay, fair enough. You got Flanagan. They let Sullivan go. They got Amone. So you got. All right, this is who you got. You got Amone, Hunt, Flanagan now, who doubles as a hooker. But then where's your halves depth? You got this Marshke kid.
Let me ask you a question just before. I want to ask you something about the Dragons.
Yeah.
Ben Hunt is saying quite openly in the media that he doesn't want to be the Dragons, and it's not his first choice club right now.
Yeah, but he has to stay because the only reason why the Dragons aren't letting him go is they're holding out. You know, they want something in return. So either play, shut up. You know, what's the worst? You know, think about it. They can keep him. He's disgruntled, but they're on the way up. Or do they let him go and there's a massive vacuum and they're pretty much guaranteed going backwards?
You know, it's a great point you make because he will
perform.
I actually believe that if the Bulldogs had kept Kieran Foran. Or Trent Barrett had kept Kieran Foran for his first year when he brought in all those players.
All the talent, you know, he would have helped them come up.
I actually think that the Bulldogs would have performed very well.
And he would have helped all the younger talent come through.
He would have helped potentially, develop a young 7, right? Or we could have...
Look at him at the Gold Coast. He's helping them develop.
Look at how well he played at Manly.
And now Des has gone there. To link up with him.
Look, I agree. I think that, you know, it's a smart move by Flanagan. If you guys get someone in return for Ben Hunt, or if he stays there for a year or two and helps bring up the next 7 to the club, it's a win-win. So I think it's good that Flanagan's standing ground. And I like what Flanagan is doing around the club. He's making changes. He's trying to sort of shape the team and the club in his image, which I think, you know, will only be good because I don't think your core... team is that bad. I actually think you guys could do very well.
They're short on middle forwards.
Look,
they're going to have to compete with a few NRL sides to try to, you know, take 1 or 2 of those front rows on offer. There's about probably 4 or 5 front rows on offer. They're going to have to compete. They're going to have to splash the money.
They also have a big junior talent pool that they can.
They really need to they add starch now. They can't. You need them there now for the next generation to follow as well. The younger guys coming through. You can't just throw these young guys straight into the deep end.
I agreed. Like you look at like some of the Bulldogs forwards. We've got Jaden Tanner, Samuel Hughes.
They need someone there. They need a couple to help and guide them through.
100%. They need that. They need the leader of the pack.
You can't just throw them in against the Payne Haas's and the Flegler's, for example, or the Warrior Hargraves. You know, or the Moses, you know, no disrespect, I mentioned them now, but Moses Leota and Fisher Harris and the Penrith pack, they'll get monsters, and we found that out this year. They'll get absolutely monstered.
Just like they monstered the Eels in the grand final last year. God, that was such a good grand final.
You were smiling from ear to ear. I think I stopped watching at half time.
Look, I was watching I was watching it in the most...
I was like, Parramatta have absolutely disgraced themselves and literally turned everyone off the grand final because you want to see a great stoush, you know.
You do, and I'm hoping this week's grand final will be that.
It will. Brisbane have more talent than what Para had.
Let me savor the moment of remembering how badly Parramatta got smashed by Penrith last year in the grand final because it was sweet.
I think Parramatta fans are going to start hating on you. They're going to say our demise makes you happy instead of your own team's success.
No, hey, I want my team to succeed, but while my team is not successful, I'm happy in Parramatta's demise too.
If Para's doing well, I couldn't give flying. You know, you know, if my team's doing horrible, and that really worries me. Mind you, I saw the Red V memberships today, and I was just weighing up whether I want to spend about $1,550 for 12 games. Gold membership, I worked out to be about $130 a game with obviously reserve parking and all the other benefits. But
Let me ask you.
if the team was flying high,
Oh,
no, look, I still might want to go. I wanted something to do on a Friday or Saturday night, for example, and driving down to Wollongong half a dozen times for footy is pretty good.
Get some friends is sort of what I would.
No, that's fine. I thought, do I get one? Do I get two and pay about $3K or?
All right, let me ask you. Let's get back to the grand final. Who wins it and where is it won?
Oh, geez. I know I'm saying Penrith by 10. It seems like a blowout. But I'm going to go Penrith based on experience, based on those hardened, battered, battle-hardened forwards. Been there, done that. This is number 4 in a row.
That's right.
It's going to take Penrith to be off their game and a mammoth, almost flawless Brisbane performance, especially in defence. Because Brisbane will still put you points in attack no matter what. It's going to take an inspirational performance by Brisbane in defence to get them over the line. As much as, honestly, I'll be happy for whoever wins this. They're both superstar sides, probably the best grand final in terms of talent we've had, probably going back a while now, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Penrith by 10.
Where is it won?
For me, it will be one in the forwards and defence. That's what it is. I think Penrith, the depth of their forwards shades Brisbane slightly, but I think their defence is better than Brisbane's. Brisbane's got some young guys there. They may not stay composed enough in defence, and it might let them down. And look, please, I hope I'm wrong.
What about Walsh, the X factor?
Look, Walsh will be watched all game. He still will get through. I think Penrith know that he will create something. It's a matter of trying to limit how much damage he does. But I think Penrith will be more focused on trying to limit Brisbane's forwards because Payne Haas, had he stopped this guy doing 200 metres a game?
Well, had he stopped James Fisher-Harris?
Yeah, and that's to be expected, but it's limiting. Look, Brisbane forwards Penrith forwards are hard to limit. It's more of Penrith are more focused on trying to limit Brisbane, fighting fire with fire. That's what it is, matching them. Because I'll say it now, Brisbane probably got more of the creative backs. And when I mean creative,
I agree with you.
You got that. I'll tell you now, how Walsh does things Dylan Edwards can't do.
Yeah, I agree. No,
also,
I agree
Walsh
with you,
off the mark is a lot quicker than Dylan Edwards. 20 to 40 metres to burst through, he's a lot quicker than Dylan Edwards.
I actually think
he's got a better passing game and a kicking game than Walsh. Walsh has got a better kicking game than Edwards. Sorry, let me finish. I know you want to give me about... But Walsh's passing kicking game is up there with the best halves in the game. Passing kicking, look at him. He's essentially a half.
I was going to say, I agree with you. I think that Walsh is probably the fastest over 40 metres
or 20
in the
to
NRL.
40, that's all you need.
If the way he tore Warriors to shreds off, I think was for that second try, it was just incredible. The speed and the acceleration is just, it's just on another level.
You got Targo's a freak and Crichton's a freak, and defensively they're amazing. And I think they shade their opponents, Katoni Staggs. Katoni Staggs can be awesome in defence, but it's just, not all the time. But in terms of creativity and attack, this is where I think Brisbane's got him. And Staggs and Herbie. Herbie's a freak in attack. His defence, I think Targo's defence better than him. Crichton's a freak in defence. I think the wingers is where Penrith's got him in the back line. Ta'o and Taruva versus... Look, if Brisbane can put up some high kicks... Oates is playing?
No.
So who's on the wing now?
Arthurs and Cobbo. Okay,
Cobbo, sorry. Now, I'll take that back. It's pretty evenly matched on the wings. I've completely forgot about Cobbo. But if Brisbane are silly if they don't do this, Taruva and Ta'o are essentially hobbits. Even Jesse Arthur's got him over in height, and he can leap, Jesse Arthur's.
Our producer is very short, so you might trigger him.
No, our producer is a dwarf from the Lonely Mountain. So,
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
That's bad.
We love you, Billy.
Sorry, Gimli. Anyway. Cobbo is what, 6'4"?
Something like that.
And he's coming out against, say, Taruva and Tao are both 5'10", 5'11". I'll tell you now, they're not more than 5'10", 5'11". He's got about 15 centimeters or 14. He's got height on him. Put up the high kick in the corner. him on the fly, he will outleap them both. He should be able to pick off 2 or 3 tries. And he's quick, and he's a damaging runner. Toa gets very low, when he runs.
I think
the halves, you got the halves. Even though, look, Penrith shade him in the halves, but you got Ezra, man, he's full of energy. He's got a support play that's amazing. Not as great as Terry Lance, but he's amazing.
He's very good, yeah.
And then you got you got Adam Reynolds, who's done it there. He's been in the big dance a few times now. He's got a great kicking game. Probably only shaded by Cleary at the moment. And then obviously Cleary and Luai, champion. It's Penrith do shade him just, but it's the forwards for me. Whoever yields in the forwards that's where it's going to be.
Interesting. So I think
it's going to be in the forwards.
I think it'll be
the forwards.
I think it'll be like 26-20 or 26-18.
It's not going to be a blowout.
It will not be a blowout.
There's too much talent. It's the forwards for me that who's going to yield.
I actually think
who's going to break.
I actually think
he's going to be damaging.
That the forward packs will go toe to toe for 80 minutes. It's not going to be this one's yielded, that one's yielded.
And the only reason why I got Penrith is because they're battle hardened. But can Brisbane's forwards match it?
I'll tell you why I think the Panthers are going to win, and this is the defining difference between these two teams in this game. One thing and one thing alone.
Now Tommy Sorensen. Anyway,
look, Sorensen's great, but it's the defensive capabilities of Tango and Critter, they're going to make all the difference.
Oh, they defend way better than the Brisbane boys. Way better.
And I'll tell you why. It's not about how well the Broncos centers defend. Why I think the Panthers can win is because if you look at the way the Broncos broke the Warriors, it was Reece Walsh too fast on the outside, the centers not being able to keep up, the wingers coming in, not being able to defend against his speed and his pass. He was able to, I think it was 4, he had 4 try assists on the wings.
But I'll point out something else. You make a good point, but I'll point out something else. Taruva and To'o, they're good pace wingers, but Arthurs and Cobber, the big man's very fast. If he bursts through, those two guys are going to leave their wingers for they're quicker than their opposing wingers.
But what I'm saying is it's the center's ability. It's the center and the second row. So Martin, and who's the other second row there?
It's Sorensen.
No,
I know Isaiah Yeo starts at lock.
Yeah, Isaiah Yeo starts at lock, but it's about the center and the second rowers, right? Being able to limit the speed with which Walsh can get to the edges. As long as the centers and the second rowers can mark up on Walsh's speed, I honestly think that they can reduce and blunt the amount of damage that Walsh can do. Combine that with Cleary's pinpoint accurate kicking. If he can keep the ball away from Walsh, catching it on the full, and the centers are absolutely focused on stopping Walsh's speed, the Broncos forward pack and the Panthers forward pack, I think they cancel each other out.
It's going to be a high intensity game. I think you might not even see basically any broken play for a while if both sides keep it up.
No, agreed.
They both move well, especially now the big man moves almost as good as the backliner.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just I don't know. I just think it's the forwards. It's just who's gonna get the upper hand. It's just crazy. Because think about it, you got Leota Harris versus Flegler and Haas.
When was the last time we saw the Panthers forward pack bested in a big match?
Maybe Melbourne in the 2020 grand final.
I think
they blew them away in that first half.
I think that's the only, going back over the last 4 years.
Oh, hang on a sec. The Brisbane did a number on them in the opening round this year. I think it was it the second game?
Yeah, but
at Penrith Park, they dominated them there as well.
But I mean, in big finals games, because if you look at even
in finals game, no, you took 2021 grand final. I thought South's forward pack got the better of them, but yeah, people, you got Ferraris like Crichton out there that ice it for you.
But I think, like, if you look at even in the season, even Parramatta bested them, their forward pack.
No, but we're talking finals.
Yeah, but I'm talking. That's what I mean.
It's almost unheard of.
That's what I'm saying, right? So I know that the Broncos are a great forward pack. I know that the Broncos will
They're
be
not
up for the
battle-hardened.
challenge. I just think that if you look at, you've got Yo, you've got Sorensen, Lenu, Fisher Harris, Moses Leota. You've got Mitch Kenny, who can slot in even in the second row lock.
I don't think none of them have played forward. I think none of those Brisbane forwards have played finals besides Tapau's not playing. Besides maybe
Tapau.
a young Payne Haas pre-COVID.
He debuted 2018 or 19.
I know he played. I think he played in that 2018 game against St George, and I think he played the previous year. The following year in 2019 as well.
Maybe, but even he was very young, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's the only one I think that might have forward experience, and that's it.
Yeah, so there's a lot more experience on the Panthers side. They don't yield, and that they haven't been bested for a very long time in an important match that actually has a.
I want to see if Flegler can come out with some fire and try to rattle his opponents.
Flegler's a good prop, but he's not a fiery prop.
He can come out and try to level his forwards. If he has a big opening 15 minutes, that might decide the game.
Anyway, so you're saying Panthers. I'm saying Panthers.
I don't know. It's 10. It seems like a blowout, but I was just going to go Panthers by 10. I'm going to say maybe Penrith 20-10.
That's fair. I'm going to say Panthers.
I think it will be 3 tries to 2 and a penalty kick.
I think it'll be Panthers 26-18.
And you know what? I'll be happy if Brisbane win it as well. I just want a great grand final because
I don't want Brisbane to win.
I don't mind Brisbane because we don't see their fans. They're a whole state away. And
Origin and the grand final, get out of here. Panthers 3-peat, brother.
You don't even see their fans when they win State of Origin. A bunch of pansies.
Up the pars, brother. Up the pars. That's what it is. Panthers 3-peat. And with that, I think we have come to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, guys. If you've stayed into the deep end, we have a lot of content coming up for you guys in the off season. We'll still be here. We're going to try and continue to bring you content. And if if anything changes, we will let you know. But there's going to be a lot of content coming towards you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please be sure to subscribe. Please go and follow us on Instagram. Go and follow us on TikTok. Go and follow us on Tumblr, MySpace.
I didn't even realize we had Tumblr and MySpace.
We don't. Go and like us on all the socials.
Do they even exist?
I don't know if they do anymore, actually. Anyway, that's a discussion for another time. Thank you so much for making it with us in the deep end. Thank you for your support. We look forward to speaking to you after the grand final. Have a good one.